that I think is getting completely overlooked in this non-conference window for college football is the big group of five games. These group of five teams going to Power Five schools. And I think is going to determine the group of five playoff race. That's all I want to talk about, the group of five playoff race. We've had one group of five team beat a Power Five team, and that was UNLV stomped Houston at Houston. I would put them as my favorite right now to win the G5 or be the G5 representation in the playoffs. But I have a list of 5 games right here played over the next 2 weeks that I think are going to completely determine that race. So first, let's talk about probably one of the most underlooked games of this weekend because of how I think it'll just be super fun is Boise going to Oregon. Do I think Boise wins this game? No. If last week's Boise played last week's Oregon, Boise would have beaten Oregon. So I think there's a possibility, and I think if Boise, if their offense is rolling, if Gentry's rolling, if Maddox is rolling, and they come in and they score 34 points, and they play within like 20, less than 20, like 15 range of Oregon, then that's going to look really good for Boise. The next game I want to talk about is this is the biggest one. It's tomorrow at 12. It's Kansas State going to Tulane. And I mean, Tulane past 2 years. 3 years? 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. Has been the number one group of 5 team. They were ended up in the top 10 in 2 years ago after beating USC in the Cotton Bowl. And then last year they had I think they went 10-3 and everybody left them though in that bowl game versus Virginia Tech. Now they've completely reloaded even with the coaching change. They're still one of the top 4 most talented and best G5 teams, and now they have a ranked Kansas State team who is ranked 18, I think, or 17, coming into their building. They're no stranger to this. They had a home game against Ole Miss. Now I think this is a home versus Kansas State, and this is not even the end of Tulane on this list. I don't have any of the. I wouldn't predict any of these G5s to win except for one of them, which we'll talk about on this list. But if Tulane could win this game, I don't know what the spread is. I don't know I'm really curious about what they're favored. Again, it's going to be with all of these G5 teams. If they're keeping it close with these Power 5 teams, then they can absolutely have a bid to the playoffs just on that. And then the third game I want to talk about from this week is App State versus Clemson. Now, Clemson looked awful, and App State I don't think they're one of the top 5 group of 5 teams. I wouldn't really consider them true. They're borderline. They're dark horse G5 playoff contenders. But if they go 2 years ago, they beat Texas A&M in their building, or 3 years ago, they go to Clemson, who is still ranked, and they go to Death Valley and they beat them, then automatically the number one. And that's for every one of these teams. If any of these teams get a win, they're gonna go to the number one, most likely to get the G5 bid. And now we previously talked about UNLV. How about again a rematch of the Guaranteed Rate Bowl last year, where UNLV played close with Kansas for 3 quarters and put up numbers against Kansas offensively. And now they're coming off like a 27-point win at Houston. And now, I don't know who they play this week. And in 2 weeks, this is now in 2 weeks, they go to Lawrence and play Kansas. Now, Kansas is very good. Kansas, they're ranked 19th. It's at home. I wouldn't expect this to happen, but again, UNLV, if they beat one Big 12 team and then look good against another, that's big. And now this is a big one. This is the only one I would say that the group of 5 team can very possibly pull off the upset, and that's because Florida State has looked terrible. Now we got Memphis. We got Mike Norvell's old team coming to Florida State. Memphis, the past a long time, past like decade almost, they've been a top 5, top 3 group of 5 team. They've been great. They always have their name up there. They've been the group of 5 champion before, and they can be one of like 2 or 3 of the true group of 5 contenders to actually beat a Power 5 opponent, and not just any Power 5 opponent. A FSU team that started ranked top 10. I don't know if Doak is going to be finished yet. I know they're under construction. But it's still Doak Campbell. So in that environment, and they go in and they beat FSU. Again, I keep reiterating this, and it is annoying, but the top of group of 5 team. It's what it is. I'll stop saying it. And I said I had 5. I lied. I just thought of 2 more off the top of my head. Texas versus UTSA is a long shot, but Frank Harris, I think he's still there. He's been there forever. He's probably the best Group of 5 quarterback, and I don't think do I think it happens? No, I don't think it happens. But I just kind of wanted to throw that one out there. And the other one is in Tulane again. It's Tulane versus Oklahoma. That's Tulane going to Oklahoma. Again, Oklahoma's very good. Do I expect it to happen? No. But brutal for Tulane. I mean, I know they're trying to get themselves as a Power 5 or Power 4 school, and I feel like at one point the ACC or the Big 12 will add Tulane once a new expansion era happens, or even in this one. And to schedule Tulane or to schedule Kansas State and then go to Norman the next week, that's brutal for any Power 4 team, let alone Tulane. And one thing is, I'll mention this is kind of unrelated to like the whole like big games, but one team that is in here, I think the top 5 Group of 5 contenders are Boise State, Tulane, Memphis, UNLV now, and Liberty. Now, we mentioned 4 of those. 2 of those teams are on this list twice. UNLV is on it twice. Tulane's on it twice. Boise goes to Oregon. Memphis goes to FSU. Where does Liberty go? Nowhere. And I don't care how badly these teams get blown out. And I know Liberty tried to schedule Power 4 opponents and just they all said no. And in the past, they had a home versus Ole Miss. I think maybe a home versus Ole Miss. Whatever. And they're the favorites to go undefeated out of any team. No, I'm sorry. I don't care unless they're like 12-0 and the next is like a 9-3 and a Group of 5 just kind of just destroys each other. If any of these Power 4 opponents or Group of 5 opponents beats a Power 4 team and they're like 11-2 and Liberty's 13-0, there should be no way Liberty should be in. Even if they lose, even if they're 11-3. Or whatever they'll be. Yeah, 11-2, sorry. And they get in, they should be in over an undefeated Liberty. So, I rambled a lot. But I just really want to talk about these Group of 5 versus Power 4 teams because nobody's talking about them. Really, the Kansas State Tulane game is talked about. But I feel like the importance of them, especially with the G5 auto bid, isn't talked about enough. So thank you all for watching. Discord never coming. See you. Actually, server was just made. Discord server was just made. So Discord is officially coming soon. It's being made. I think it'll be out next week. So see y'all.